So hi folks, last 4.5 years I'm working with this IT industries and delivering support to our customer and clients with different technology like you can say Red Hat Enterprise Linux as well as Ubuntu. So apart from that, I had worked on different OpenStack versions. You can say Red Hat OpenStack as well as the Canonical OpenStack version. So I already deployed 2-3 clusters in the customer's data center. So uh, it is the all well-known customers, okay, in our India. So most of the banking sector as well as the telco sectors. So apart from that, I'm also working in some DevOps profile, delivering solution to our customers. And yeah, so currently I'm working as an Ansible automation developer, and so that we are orchestrating all the DevOps tools, and we are integrating each other, okay, so that we will get a end-to-end product life cycle and to fulfill the customer's requirement. So apart from that, I already work on different type of virtualization technologies. You can say on the top of the VMware as well as the KVM. You can say Red Hat Virtual Manager. So apart from that, okay, during this period, I have owned a few Red Hat certification as well as you can see that is the Red Hat Certified Administrator, Red Hat Certified Engineer, Red Hat Certified OpenStack Administrator, as well as I already own some advanced Ansible automation certification and as well as the virtualization. So most of my core expertise into the Red Hat domain. So I am currently working on those domains and those technologies. So moving to the next slide. So what we are going to cover during this total curriculum or during this total training. So this demo is basically introducing to the Ansible. So we are going to learn about what is exactly Ansible, from where this terminology came, and what is the purpose and what is the solution that it gives to a system administration life. So simply we can say that okay, it is an automation engine. It will automate your infrastructure. It obviously it is not only limited to your on-prem infrastructure as well as you can go with the cloud infrastructure. So it will give the system administrator that much of flexibility so that they can achieve their requirement within a short time span. So we are going to cover the features of Ansibles. Okay, so how on which who all are using this Ansible, and if you'll go with some big community, right? Okay, let's say OpenStack those things. So all the automation script that has been written with the Ansible script. So that we are going to discuss a little bit more. So obviously, so whenever you are going with the Ansible, it is basically an open source version. So there is a community behind this Ansible. So that is known as the Ansible community. So obviously, whenever you are going with the open source technology, there is no such support case you will get. So what happened? So by taking that open source code, Red Hat has developed its own UI version of Ansible, and they given us the Ansible task. The same activity that you can do with Ansible, but with a good manner, or you can say with a good user interface. Okay, so at the end we are going to discuss about what are the topics that we are going to cover during this course. So moving to the next slide. Uh, this is the basic course outline. So the prerequisite you can say for this Ansible, you don't need to have very much experience in different technologies. So if you are having basic knowledge on the Unix flavors like Linux, Ubuntu, or CentOS, you can go with this particular Ansible. So basically, so during this period, okay, we are going to cover most of the basic things like user creation, package management, and as well as okay, day-to-day activities of a system administrator. So we'll try to orchestrate them. Okay. So as we know, the basic module that which we are using for the Ansible, everything has been developed by the Python language. So if you want to develop one Ansible module, so some basic concept of Python you need to understand. So obviously for the troubleshooting purpose also basic knowledge of Python required. So somehow we are going to cover that perspective also. So here we are going to discuss about the Ansible architecture. So how Ansible works in your particular infrastructure and how you can set up the Ansible node in your particular infrastructure. So whenever we are going for the Ansible CLI version, so obviously one controller would be required, and rest of the things which you want to automate, that would be work as a management node. Similarly, whenever, as I told you, the enterprise version that has been given by the Red Hat is the Ansible Tower. So you can have a multiple, you can go with the multiple cluster architecture, so that you would get the failover advantage over that. So if my one node goes down, it will not affect your total infrastructure. So that we are going to get the good understanding of this Ansible architecture and how we can maintain the high availability. So as I told, the main purpose of the Ansible is to automate the Linux administration task, as well as we are going to simplify the day-to-day activity of an administrator. So we are going to use some basic module in this particular case. So like say to install some packages, to start some services, if you want to create some new users, that we are going to achieve by this Ansible module. So we are going to get some Ansible default module, default fact, and we can extract the data and we can use those facts to achieve our particular expectation while automating a particular task. So that is basically comes as your gathering and using facts in the dependent playbooks. So obviously, it is this particular Ansible is, as I told you earlier, it is not limited to only the Linux. If you want to automate the Windows machine, whatever may be the Windows version you are having, or else let's say some industrial switch router. Okay, it may be the Cisco, it may be the Brocket, everything that you can automate through the Ansible. It is as well as it is not limited to that much only. You can say if I want to provision a bare metal, if I want to provision the public cloud, if you want to provision a particular storage, let's say whatever the Dell storage, whatever the different storage boxes you are having, you can create a partition, you can export those share, you can create a volume, everything that can be achieved by this Ansible. So this Ansible is that much a powerful tool that in an data center as well as in your particular infrastructure, you can automate each and every task. So obviously uh, to achieve this much of goal, you need to go with a playbook. So which will be very much simple, and which has been you can write those playbook with the YAML script. So it is not like that much of complex script. It is easily understandable script. So obviously, while we are going to create a playbook, so before that we need to learn a basic steps how we can write the playbook, how we can achieve the multiple goals and multiple targets. So obviously, we are going to discuss about the looping, writing different type of conditions, and somehow we are going to use some Ginger template and dynamic inventory. So these are the different things that we are going to cover throughout our particular syllabus. So this is our particular course outline over here. So moving to the some add-on topics, right? So as I told, it is a powerful tool. So we are going to experience some kind of practical thing in our particular environment. So what are those? So we will be demonstrating about the how to provision the resources in the public cloud. We are going to take the AWS over here. How we are going to automate the different type of servers, either the Linux or the Windows. So that we are going to cover in this particular curriculum. So we can also achieve some most of the things through the Jenkins pipeline, right? So whenever it is not only limited to the Jenkins, if you are managing your code in the GitLab or GitHub, you can also develop the pipeline so that okay, when the developer is committing any source code, the Ansible playbook is going to be committed automatically. That type of exercises we are going to cover throughout this particular period. So this is the some add-on topics. and obviously we are going to do hands-on on these particular topics. So moving to the next slides. So so at the end of every training, okay, we need to have some basic or as well as some advanced project or hands-on experience with us, right? So for that, what we are going to do, so we will be we will be do some hands-on work on some three different types of projects. Okay, so what are those? So we have taken three particular projects. So one project we are going to do the patching management. So most of the industries, you if you are belongs from the system or administrative background, you might have known that, okay. So whenever the new packages or new patches are coming, to reduce the vulnerability, what we are doing, we need to update those packages, or else it would be the security compliances in your particular environment. How to do that patching management through the Ansible. So that we are going to learn in this particular project. Okay, so we will do some hands-on experience. We are going to write down some playbooks to achieve that particular things. Apart from that, as I told you, so this uh, by using the Ansible, we are going to provision few AWS instances. So obviously, before going to provision the instances, you need to provision the VPC network and the storage and whatever the dependencies that is associated with your instance EC2 instance provision. Right. So everything we are going to achieve by this particular Ansible playbook. And again, that would be the hands-on exercise that we are going to cover in this particular uh, curriculum as a project. So moving to the third project. So obviously, as a Linux administrator, you might have known that, okay, it is very much a crucial thing. Okay, whenever you are getting new servers in your particular environment, so you need to do some logical partitioning. You need to manage your local disk. So for that, what we need basically, so how you can orchestrate those particular tasks by using the Ansible. So in this particular case, okay, so we are having some different type of scenarios. Let's say I am having some servers or instances in my particular on-prem data center or environment, and already those are having few amount of spaces. So we are going to experiment that with some conditioning things, so that if already some the requirement is fulfilling, so it should print some good messages, or you can say that it will acknowledge the user that, okay, that machine is already having this much disk, you don't need to provision that. So that type of flexibility, how we can put the condition, everything that we are going to do in our third project. So these are the three projects which will give you the overall idea of how Ansible works. Okay, how you can create a generic code by using the role as well the different types for the different types of environment. So that is all about the projects. Moving to the next slide. So obviously, while we are going to start our training, so obviously you need to have some hands-on experience with you. So whenever the lecture will over, or whenever I am going to demonstrate anything, at the end, yeah, obviously for your confidence, you need to have some hands-on experience. You need to get some hands-on experience in this particular technology, right? So for that, you need to do the lab setup in your particular environment. So obviously, so if you are using a good 16 GB laptop, you can provision 2-3 VMs over there. Obviously, it would be good to go with the 4 GB memory. If your system doesn't allows you, what you can go with the 2 GB RAM, 2 core CPU, at least 30 GB of disk size. So why we require this three numbers of VM basically? So basically this Ansible only you can install on the top of the Unix version, right? So either it may be the Rail, either it may be the Ubuntu, or either it may be the CentOS. So obviously, if you are most of you can't go with the Rail because it is the subscription based. You need to pay for that. So instead of that, you can go with the Ubuntu as well as the CentOS. So obviously, so when I will be discussing about the brief architecture. So at that particular moment, you will get to know why you need three nodes in this particular case. So obviously, one node we are going to use as a controller node for the Ansible, from where we are from on which we are going to basically develop the Ansible playbooks. And the another two nodes, either you can go with the Windows or a Linux or any other Unix version. So we are going to automate that particular machine. So that two node would be working as the managed. So that is the whole idea about the lab setup. If you are having the virtual box or VM workstation in your particular system, you can provision two three VMs. You can also go with the two VMs. If you don't want to go with Windows automation, you can go with the two virtual machines. So one would be used for the Ansible controller, and another would be the you can use for this particular management. So that is the basic requirement of the lab that you need to go. So most of the we are not going to do anything in the offline, or you can say eight-packed environment. So obviously you can allow the internet to your particular VMs, so that you can configure the repositories, and from that repository you can get the Ansible packages. So that we are going to demonstrate whenever we'll start our particular first class. Okay. Moving to the next slide. So what you are going to get from this particular Ansible training. So what would be your reference point? Okay, those questions also come. So whenever you are coming to the training, okay, so once the training will over, you need to get some good goodies. Okay, goodies in the sense you need to get some good notes so that you can refer it for your future. So obviously you can go with the upstream document. So that is basically the Ansible document. So every module details, every architecture level details, everything that you can get it from the official Ansible document. Okay, so apart from that, I will be sharing the Red Hat Ansible, uh, you can say note with you, so that you can prepare yourself with the according to the Red Hat standards. So how they have mentioned, how they have done everything, that you would get a good idea about that. Okay, so that would be the additional course resources that you are going to get at the end of this particular curriculum. So from the beginning of this training, I am going to provide you this particular Red course material, so that you can refer during this particular class also. And obviously, so at the end of this particular training, we will be helping you to build your resume for this particular Ansible developer, right? So that you can go to the marketplace and you can showcase your knowledge to so that it would easily make you to get into particular your requirement in particular technologies. Okay, so that we will be taking care. So moving to the next thing. So obviously, so this would be the obviously the optional thing. So at the end, if you want to prepare for this interview round, right? Let's say you want to know about yourself more, how much confidence you are on this particular technologies, and how much you gained, and what are the loopholes. Okay, so obviously we will be here to guide you, so that we can have some mock interviews to boost your confidence, to make you ready for this particular different types of interviews, right? So that we are going to schedule at the end of this particular thing. Moving to the next thing. So once you have done with this particular Ansible training, what you are going to do, how you want to recognize yourself as a certified Ansible developer. So obviously Red Hat provides you two type of certification in this particular domain, especially in this particular domain. So whenever we are going to complete this particular Ansible automation training, obviously it would be easy to get into this Red Hat certified engineer. So the exam code is basically EX294, which will give you the you can say you can acknowledge yourself as an Red Hat certified engineer. So that is the basic Ansible, or you can say how you can write a playbook, and how you can create a role. So those type of things that comes in the exam. Okay, so for this exam assistance, okay, if you need, okay, we can also give you some demonstration on this particular Ladder Certified Engineer ES294 exam. So apart from that, you want to get more into this Ansible. Okay, let's say you want to work into the core domain of this particular Ansible. So, so at that for that particular moment, as I told, there is an Ansible Tower is available, which is in an enterprise version. So you can also appear for the Radar Certified Advanced Ansible Automation Expert exam. So the exam code is basically DO447. So apart from that, okay, you could go for different examination also available, but for that you need to explore more regarding the automating the thing, right? So it will be so whenever you are considering the Red Hat, it is going to specify the fields. Okay, so if you want to be a network automation engineer, for that you will be going to get another particular examination. So from this curriculum, okay, you will be easily crack this Red Hat certified engineer as well as this RTO 447, which will give you or which will acknowledge you as an advanced Ansible automation expert. So that is the certification that you are eligible after this particular curriculum. So moving to the next, okay, so at the end of this training, either you want to appear for this professional certificate, uh, that doesn't mean, so for that you need to pay for that. So for whenever you are completing this particular training, going to give you one certificate of achievement. So obviously, you are welcome every time to give your feedback so that we can improve upon ourselves to deliver the training and uh, deliver the expectation that you are expecting from us. So that is all about this particular curriculum.